Have you ever paused in the middle of a quiet night and wondered what happens after I die? Not in a religious sense, not as a fantasy, but as a raw, unfiltered question. Why does the very thought of death paralyze us? Why do we fear something that every living being must eventually face? Today, let's take a deep dive into this question, not to comfort you but to understand you. The fear of death is almost universal. It doesn't matter where you were born, what language you speak, or what gods you pray to. From the richest billionaire to the wandering monk, death is the one thing that humbles us all. But here's the strange part. We don't fear being dead, we fear becoming dead. Because being dead implies absence. And absence cannot be felt. So what are we really afraid of? Philosopher Epicurus once said, "Death is nothing to us because when we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we no longer exist. Yet we tremble at its name." What? To answer that, we must look within, at the ego. The ego is our inner storyteller. It says, "This is my life, my goals, my family, my story." And death? Death is the erasure of that story. The ego fears being forgotten, losing control, and vanishing into nothingness. Think about it, your entire life is a construction of meaning. You work hard, build relationships, chase dreams. But death whispers, none of it matters in the end. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once remarked, "Death removes all meaning from life unless we create it ourselves." And this is where the fear deepens. We fear not just death, but the idea that life might be meaningless without it. Another reason? The unknown. Death is the last great mystery. We've mapped continents, explored space, split atoms. But no one has ever returned from the grave to explain what lies beyond. Is it eternal sleep? Rebirth? Heaven? Oh, or just silence? The German philosopher Martin Heidegger believed that humans are unique because we are aware of our own mortality. We live with the knowledge that we will die. This is the source of both our anxiety and our potential for authenticity. He called it being toward death. To live with full awareness of death, he argued, is the only way to live truly. But is it really possible to live with that awareness every day? Here's another uncomfortable truth. Death reminds us that we're not in control. We plan, schedule, prepare. We buy health insurance and build safe homes. But no matter how tightly we grip the steering wheel, life ends without our permission. And control is something the human mind craves. Letting go of control is not just scary, it feels like betrayal. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't a morbid thought, it was a call to live fully, to surrender control and embrace the moment. Yet most of us do the opposite. We fear death so much that we stop truly living. But let's not forget something important. The fear of death isn't just internal, it's also taught. Look at how society treats death. It's hidden in hospitals, cloaked in euphemisms. We say someone passed away or is no longer with us. We sanitize it, package it, and keep it far from everyday life. Funerals become formalities. Obituaries are edited for politeness. In many Eastern cultures, death is seen as a part of life's cycle, something natural. In the West, it's often seen as an interruption, a failure. What if we grew up treating death not as an enemy but as a teacher? Here's a radical thought. What if it's not life that gives meaning to death, but death that gives meaning to life? Think of a beautiful sunset. Its beauty lies in its brevity. If it lasted forever, would you still be in awe? Life is precious because it ends. Moments matter because they vanish. The American philosopher William James said, "The greatest use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it." Death is not the opposite of life. It's the opposite of birth. Life is the bridge between the two. And bridges are meant to be crossed, not feared. So how do we live without being crippled by the fear of death? We accept it, not passively, not with despair, but with awareness. The Buddhist practice of Maranasati literally means mindfulness of death. Monks meditate daily on the impermanence of life, not to become numb, but to become free. It's a way to remind yourself, you are alive, right now. This breath, this moment, it matters. Death in that sense isn't a thief. It's a guide. A silent companion that walks beside you and says, don't waste this. So why do we fear death? Because we don't understand it. Because we think we are our egos. Because we weren't taught to see death as a part of life. Because the unknown terrifies us. But maybe, just maybe, we can look at death not as an ending but as a teacher. Not as a wall but a mirror. One that reflects the deepest truth. That to truly live you must make peace with your end. And if you've watched this far, I ask you to close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, if I had only 1 year left to live, would I live differently? If the answer is yes, then death has already taught you something today. If this video made you reflect, even a little, subscribe for more philosophical journeys like this. Leave a comment. What do you think happens after death? Let's explore these mysteries together. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking, and above all, keep living.